Maybe, ladies and gentlemen, you were wondering after what the last couple of nights on Sportswire Radio were like. Maybe we were going to stop. Maybe we weren't going to do a show. Maybe we were going to stop. Maybe we were just going to forget about everything that's going on and what you've seen between wrestlers spoiling their own outcomes and wrestlers that were sort of brought up for no apparent reason and came on, and other guys that randomly appeared. And you got the controversy. You got all of it and some. But you know what? We are here and we're live for good reasons in prime time, the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the only platform where all wrestling matters, because our guest is literally a colleague because he is the owner of the other PWF. Yes, yours truly owns a portion of the other PWF, and we crowned our own champion, our inaugural champion. But the guys in the PWF Mid-South, they're getting ready to relaunch. They're getting ready to kick things off Tennessee style. We're going to talk about that because we've had some recent guests on this platform who are a part of the PWF Mid-South. Plus, we're going to ask our guest about what is going on in the UWA, and the UWA is getting ready for last rites, and I know it's not going to be last rites for him, but could it be for Sammy Slade? Because after all, we know it was supposed to be him and CJ, but CJ, unfortunately, for now, had to bow and go exit stage left. He certainly did his own bow out, but something tells me we'll figure out what happens, and I'll get our guest's thoughts on that, because after all, just maybe, he could be the number one contender to that UWA World Championship. And I'm going to ask him his thoughts on some other things, and who knows, whatever else you want to talk about. He's definitely Black Label. He's definitely all things related to what All Wrestling Matters has to offer. He is definitely Dirty South and some. And boy, I can't wait to talk with him. I know he's had a long, hard day. I know he was thinking, maybe we shouldn't go on the air tonight because after what happened, I have to follow Craven Rage. I have to follow Anthony Steele. But you know what? But then he was like, I am an owner. I'm the big cheese. I'm the boss. I'm one of the bosses of the PWF and the All Wrestling Matters movement. I'm a third-generation wrestler. I've been in place after place, and so many of my peers are watching this or about to watch it, and not only am I not going to back out, I'm going to certainly have a lot to say that'll certainly envy maybe some recent guests and some. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are so delighted to have him back here for round two. And that's why I want to give him that introduction that so many of his peers have gotten. And just maybe CJ's gotten not too long ago. And maybe that's why in a few weeks or a few months from now, we'll be looking at him as not only at the top of the table or the head of the table in the UWA and the PWF Mid-South, but maybe in this backyard and underground wrestling circuit. So let's try to give him a better introduction. Since I've had 50 plus minutes, 55 minutes to think about this, let's try to give him a better introduction than last time, and maybe a better introduction than some of his UWA colleagues. Like, I don't know, the Headshot Jake Howell, maybe even his tag team partner, Chase Sullivan, who's done, boy, what a job as the UWA Southern champion. Maybe those guys that he recently signed, like Will Jackson and Brett Anderson, and maybe even that other guy you might have seen here on this platform named Aaron Blaze. We're going to try to give him a better introduction than all of them. They all might want to kill me after hearing that, but we'll try anyway, and you tell me how it goes. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great honor to call this man a friend, a colleague, and let's give him that introduction in prime time, the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the only platform, figuratively and literally, where all wrestling matters, Sportswire Radio. So with that, further ado here on the Sports Report, the number one level sports show. Third generation wrestler, multi-time champion, founding member of the Dirty South, former UWA Heritage Champion, the owner of the PWF Mid-South. Simply put, His name is Label. I embellished a little bit, but my friend, yeah.
I'm good. Got to promote the new merch. Definitely got to promote it.
Looking good, my friend. I definitely got some merchandise links. I got some other links in PWF Southland to promote. I've got UWF stuff definitely on the horizon. And how are you? How you doing tonight here in prime time, the brightest lights, the biggest stage?
I'm good.
You feeling good?
I know it's a little late, and I apologize for that.
No. Listen, trust me. On this platform, I don't know if you've ever seen, but sometimes we go on the air. I'm on still at 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. Heck, when Jack Delta was here last over a month ago, I think we were still going at 2:30 in the morning Eastern Standard Time. And there was like 15, 16, 17 people still on YouTube, not counting everything else. I mean, and last night, I don't know if you caught any of it. Maybe you shouldn't have. But we were on with Anthony Steele and Omen Black. After all, it is his show. And Chris Craven, who made his return. We were here until I think about, I'm sure somebody can quote it, maybe like 1:30 in the morning just about. So at this point, this is almost like lunchtime for Sportswire. This is almost just like we're just getting started, to quote the Black Eyed Peas. So don't feel too bad. I mean, but obviously a lot to talk about in the world of the PWF and the UWA. I want to say hello to some people that are joining us. I know people were waiting, but I promise it'll be worth the wait as always. So, I mean, obviously, let's maybe start off nice and easy. We'll certainly go to UWA. I know a lot of stuff to go catch up in there. You were supposed to be in a title match. You're not in a title match now, but you're in a number one contenders match. We'll definitely talk about that. We'll get your thoughts on CJ. We'll get your thoughts on Sammy Slade, who obviously is doing his best impersonation of Buddy Murphy. He still wishes he could obviously be Rhea Ripley's other half, but he still can't be. But you're going to be his other half in the ring at Last Rites. We'll definitely talk about that. But, you know, on Sportswire Radio a couple weeks ago, I'm sure you're aware of this. You actually have 2 new members of the PWF Mid-South roster. And I want to get your opinions on them now because I think pretty highly of them. I had the good fortune to speak with them. And I think they're going to be guys that I think a lot of people in this circuit here are going to be really excited to see what they do going forward. And that is none other than Brett Anderson and Will Jackson. So for those that are listening and watching, in prime time, the brightest lights, the biggest stage, where all wrestling matters, Sportswire Radio, talk about 2 of your newest members of the PWF Mid-South roster in Brett Anderson and Will Jackson.
You know, Brett and Will, it really surprised me that Dimitri actually went out and signed them. You know, I know they signed the contracts right here on.
I thought that was so great. I was like, wow, these guys are going to do it here.
Yeah, that was something.
That was brilliant. Whoever came up with that idea and whoever said, yeah, that's okay, we could do that on air, they really, must get really all the kudos as to why Sportswire is about to get to 1,000 subs.
Yeah, I believe that was all Dimitri's idea. So,
well, Dimitri certainly will have to send you a thank you card in the mail.
So that was, I believe that was all him because I had no idea that they were going to do it on air. I knew nothing about it.
Well, Dimitri, that's why Dimitri's he gets the big bucks as the GM in the PWF Mid-South, huh?
Yeah. He has some great ideas, but definitely signing those 2. Those are going to be, 2 of the guys that we go to for tag team division. Most definitely.
Absolutely, no question about it. You know what really excites me about them? I'm going to put the links up on the screen. We're going to say hello to people. I know people are just starting to join the conversation. I want to thank my very dear friend, fellow general manager in the Great South of the great state of Alabama, Hillbilly Tilly, for sharing our link here on X. So thank you so much, Hillbilly Tilly. But, I mean, you get these guys in, and they bring a lot to the table. So what do you think that Brett Anderson and Will Jackson bring here to this new PWF Mid-South cell. Talk to me about what do you think they bring?
So Brett, most people don't know this. I've actually been in the ring with Brett. Not really on air, but just kind of just in the ring training and
Mhm.
dark matches and stuff like that. But
Right. Well, he's been in UWA for a little while, and
yeah,
he's done some different things there over the past year, sure.
great shoot wrestler. I mean,
Yes.
phenomenal guy.
And great locker room guy. Just a great, I've got a chance to know him a little bit. We spoke about something I won't say on the air, and I really feel like that he's going to be good in terms of the mentality that he brings to the table.
Oh yeah, definitely. Both of them have great personalities. They're great guys to have in the locker room. They bring up the morale. Uh, I mean, geez, it's one of those things that you can't say nothing bad about them.
Which I think is important because you know this. You've been in a lot of locker rooms. You're a third generation wrestler. A lot of companies have this problem where there's X amount of guys, could be a high percentage of guys in a locker room that right away that there's problems. They have egos. They say certain things. They want to go into the business for themselves. But what I'm starting to notice here with the new PWF, the Mid-South version, is that we're getting guys in here that I think are here and want to improve, want to do it for the right reasons. And I'm really excited about Brett and Will. Will, I know, has proven himself in some different places, maybe more so than UWA. Brett, I think there's a little bit more of a sample. Brett's had some big matches. We spoke about the Jay Cal War. We spoke about Aaron Blaze. Certainly, Aaron Blaze is always a name. Everybody on
Oh
this
yeah,
platform and in this circuit, everybody always jumps out of their seat to hear. But I'm excited that you're getting in high caliber people, which is just as important, I tend to think, with those in the ring who can do it at a high caliber level. So I think that's, to me, what I'm excited about, is that you're doing it with guys here that are high caliber people outside the ring.
yeah. I mean, Will, he's got a following out in Bristol. I mean, he's got a
Yes.
cult. He's got a very big cult following out in Bristol. So having him bring in that fan following as well, coming from Bristol, Tennessee, and Bristol, Virginia, that brings in a lot of eyes on us as well. So
Let me ask you a question on that. ET obviously is meant a lot to those guys' careers. ET, we've seen now a lot. He's opening up on social media. He's been a huge part of the UWA. Did you, by any chance, or Dimitri, maybe that's the better question, did Dimitri maybe speak with ET in any way? Was there any conversations on what ET thought about the moves?
um, I've had conversations with ET. Uh, Dimitri, I believe, has also had conversations with ET as well. More so, with my previous injury, ET always kind of called and checked up on me, make sure I was okay. And when he found out the Mid South was relaunching, I was kind of starting to bring in the kind of just the talent moves and seeing if anybody was interested in stuff like that. And I guess the talent pool started moving towards Dimitri, and he was the one that kind of started getting the
The
contracts
ball
moving.
rolling, yep. The
Yep.
wheels turning, everything else in between. I'm going to put up some links in a second, but let me ask you another question on this, and I want to turn it into some other people that are in the company. But obviously, we're still at the early stages of the company, basically organizing and getting all our ducks in a row. Are there other talents or other names that you have an eye on? I mean, I know I have to ask that question. Are there other names that you guys might have an eye on coming up here in this circuit?
There's a couple of names that we've got an eye on. Of course, Aaron. We've definitely got an eye on him. Um, of course, CJ, we've got an eye on him as well.
I would
You
think
know,
CJ being a man that you'd like to take the UWA title from me. Now, do you want to hopefully win this match against Sammy Slade? Then, whenever that match occurs, take the title from CJ, then sign him in the PWF. So, how is that going to work?
uh, it's one of those things where it's UWA for me and PWF. It's completely separate. And I have told the guys in the locker room that if I come up to you and I say, hey, there's a contract on the table if you want it. It's going to be business aside in PWF. Whether we have personal feelings or not, that's a different set of rules there.
Has that made it awkward at all now that you're back in the UWA? You know, last time you were here, you were getting ready to return. So you still hadn't been back in the UWA. You had been away from the company healing from your injury for several months. But now that you're getting ready to be back in the thick of things, in that locker room, what has that been like, more or less? Have guys looked at you differently now that you're getting ready to return? And we're going to obviously see you coming up here very soon. Has it now been where you felt you've been looked at differently?
Not really. I mean, they still know that I mean business back there.
Obviously.
But it's one of those things where I'm the same guy that I was, whether or not I'm running PWF Mid South or if I'm running the ropes in the ring. And most of the time, Dimitri's handling day-to-day business, so it was one of those things while I was on injury that I let everybody know, hey, if you get offered a contract or if Dimitri kind of gets a hold of you, hey, he's interested.
Do you think that as time goes on, that will continue? Because, again, I had you here last time. You were getting ready to return to the ring. Now you're obviously in the full swing of things. We're probably going to see you at a number of different things coming up UWA related. I know you're going to compete in PWF Mid-South, but do you think that you'll be able to continue to keep that basically the way that you intended to be right now, telling us that?
Maybe a little bit more difficult than I want it to be.
100. And you're third generation. So when I'm talking to you tonight, you get it. You know it, dude. You know, like,
Yeah.
It's not like I have to explain to somebody like a couple of days ago about what not to say and what to say. Your family has been in this for generations, so
yeah,
you know it better than anybody. And I'm sure you understand fully what's about to come your way.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a little bit more of a difficult situation, especially with with what's going on with Dalton right now.
Well, I'm going to get to him in a few minutes because Dalton's obviously a big topic as well, and I'm going to put the links up in that. Let me ask you a question now that I'm thinking about it. We talk about you as a third-generation wrestler. Have you asked for advice from your family that have been in this? Have you asked them anything?
I talked to my uncle not too long ago, and he asked me if I was going to hang it up now that I'm opening my own, now that we're doing the new promotion. I told him no. He goes, I wish you the best of luck.
Why did he say that to you, though? I'm curious. Why would he tell you you thought about hanging it up? For what reason?
He basically was just like, I don't know how you're going to be able to do it with being in the ring at the same time as running your own promotion.
Is that an issue where it's concerned about politics and having to make decisions that's going to upset guys? Is that what he was kind of hinting it without saying it, more or less?
Yeah, I think that's more along the lines of what he was referring to.
Fair. I mean, it's obviously something to be concerned about, I suppose, but you're here and, we can only go forward. And I'm very excited about the PWF, and I'm going to actually take this off the screen. I want to put this up on the screen because I like people to get involved in the PWF. So we're going to do that right here through a couple of ways. First of all, through Instagram, because we have the PWF page right here. So obviously we see it here, and I'm going to put this up on the screen. I'm going to take this off, and Dalton Skull is the last PWF Uprising champion. Obviously, Dalton Skull is always a topic of discussion on this platform. You've shared it. I've shared it on my pages. I always share a lot of the things on Facebook and on the YouTube channel. So, I mean, talk to me about the ramifications of Dalton Skull being the last PWF Uprising champion.
So, him being the last Uprising champion, I'm pretty sure you saw it on the PWF page.
Yes, I did.
Not too long ago, where they posted that they had acquired the FCW championship.
Correct.
So going forward with that, uh, there was going to be a unification match at the Uprising Final Act special, where it was going to be the Uprising Championship versus the
FCW.
FCW Heavyweight Title,
Correct.
to be where the new championship was going to be the new whoever wins the match was going to
You
be
unify the title. Yep.
yeah, it was going to be the new PWF Mid South champion. So I unfortunately it's going to be me versus Dalton at that at the show. Uh,
So let me ask you on that. You've got this situation with Sammy Slade. I'll get into that in probably about 5 or 10 minutes. But now you've got this situation where you're in a match with Dalton. I mean, how are you able to focus on all these different things? You've got PWF business, but now you've also got gold possibilities. You've got the match coming up with Dalton, and then
mhm.
you've got Sammy Slade, which we're going to get to, because originally you were supposed to be wrestling CJ, but now it's you and Sammy Slade, #1 contendership. So talk to me about just how are you going to be able to prepare for these big matches coming up?
It's juggle. I mean, it's definitely a juggle. Of course, I've got Sully. He's basically he's talking me up. He's basically my lean on right at the moment. Um, I mean, I was training today. God, was I training today?
But that's got to feel good, though, to be back into the swing of things with training, because we spoke with you several weeks ago, and it was basically you were just getting ready to come back. You had just been going through this injury, but now you're getting back and you're training because you're getting ready for these big matches. So that's got to be a good feeling in a way. Know that you can go out there and feel like you can still do it.
Yeah, it definitely feels better. Getting back into an actual ring feels a whole lot better than not being in one.
You must have missed
Oh yeah, I ran ropes for like an hour and a half.
it. You're probably like, boy, I hadn't done that in a while.
No, it was definitely something.
What would it mean to you to wrestle Dalton Skull and take away that championship and add something to your career? What would that mean to you to win that title? Would that give you momentum going into whatever comes your way here in these matches?
It would definitely give me momentum, but at the same time, it's kind of one of those. What's the word I'm looking for it?
Well, you always want to build some type of momentum. You always want to build momentum. You want to go into something with something to be able to build upon, but you can look
Yeah.
at it and saying that, maybe there are a few different things. Are they related? Some people would say yes. When you go in the analogies in sports, sometimes people believe in something to build upon, but they're not related. Some people believe in karma, different things that go into the lines that have nothing to do with being in the ring. So you can look at it from those vantage points, or they're just completely different things because you're going up against different opponents. Potentially you would have three totally different opponents. Dalton brings something to the table that Sammy's not, and should you pass Sammy Slade, CJ is going to certainly bring something totally different than Sammy Slade would. So maybe in a sense, nothing's related because you got three completely different opponents.
Yeah, see, the biggest difference between them all is I've been in the ring with CJ. I've
Yes,
been
we
in the
took
ring
one.
with Sammy.
Yep.
I have never been in the ring with Dalton.
So what is that like then? I mean, everybody knows Dalton.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you need to go out and look at tape. A lot of people know Dalton. Dalton has been around the block. So, I mean, what's that going to be like though for you? You haven't wrestled him. You certainly know him.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is that process going to be like versus the process of Sammy Slade, and potentially should you defeat Sammy Slade, getting ready for CJ again?
Getting ready for CJ is completely just off the wall. I've got to study MMA. I've got to go to a gym. I've got to go, get a freaking kickboxing instructor and train with them. I've got to go, Muay Thai and all this other crap just to get ready for his kicks. It's completely different than getting ready for Sammy Slade, who is a powerhouse.
Yep.
Who just wants to throw you around. It's just like facing Jake Howell.
Yeah, kind of.
Completely different game.
There's a traditional wrestling, more of a shooter style wrestling. There's certainly something that comes to the table that's different than any other opponent, which makes them unique, which makes them extremely difficult opponents for sure. So I think those are some really, really important points. And then conversely, you've got Sammy in the PWF Mid-South. I mean, does that make things weird now that you're going to be wrestling him in UWA, but yet I know you're saying, no, it's not. It's not. Everything's good. But I mean, there's ramifications here, major ramifications coming up between you and him, that number one contenders match, because the winner gets a shot at CJ. We know what Sammy Slade has been talking about here for months. I mean, he wants that gold, and you've come here. You came here when you were here for the first time and basically declared you wanted the title. You got the wish. You didn't get it, but there's so much on the line between you and Sammy Slade, but yet now he's a member of your roster. What's that like?
So there's a saying between me and him.
Okay.
The dog collar match, I told him that we were going to die together. And, when we had a conversation about the contract, I told him, win, lose, draw, whether you sign this contract or not, that's how it is. We're going to die together. Whether you love me or you hate me, that's how it's going to be. And right then and there, he signed the contract.
Wow. Some heavy stuff there. That's really heavy because of what's on the line, because of what's at stake. I mean, for both of you guys would like to be a world champion. I mean, we've seen the whole situation with Sammy and the Mafia. Sammy finally spoke. I mean, we know what's going on between Chase and Jake. I mean, there's just like so much going on here in the UWA, and yet you got PWF ramifications with Sammy Slade and your company. I mean, just you went from basically being on the sidelines to now being almost in the middle of all the shots being fired. I mean, boy, you went totally 360 just from a matter of weeks.
It's a good thing they got a riot shield.
Well, you know what? Let me get to some comments here. I want to say hello to people. I know people were waiting for a long time here. I want to be able to put some different links up on the screen. I'm going to come back to merchandise. I'm going to come back to some UWA stuff. I want to thank everybody for their patience. I want to give Mr. Taylor a little bit of a bigger angle here. Let me catch up to everybody here. And thank you so much for your patience. And Sean Jovi wanted to say hello earlier. Sean Jovi, obviously the man that has also been at the center of the All Wrestling Matters movement. He and I.
What's up, Rockstar?
He is definitely America's rock star. He says hello. I'm sure he popped in a while ago and went back to sleep. Jake Dvorak said the same thing. The All Wrestling Matters hardcore tournament he's created. We have coverage for that coming up soon. He just wanted to pop in and said basically, hopefully you don't spoil it. And the reason to remind you again is, Craven Rage was here a couple of days ago. And basically, I guess you might want to say pulled his own Montreal screw job basically toward his company. And he basically told people what was going to happen, even though it wasn't going to happen until 2 days later. Then it did happen. And then when I saw it tonight, it looked even worse than even how he tried to explain it. And then what was even worse about the show a few days ago was that he tried to explain it, left the stream, came back on the stream as well, MJ, and it was even worse. It was almost like the Twilight Zone. It was like a bad nightmare. And he calls himself the Nightmare, the backyard nightmare and the ruler of the yard, but it was really a nightmare episode of Sportswire Radio, which is reminiscent of Jerry Springer. That's what it reminded me of. So, yeah, unfortunately, he did a no-no, and he probably still, despite what he says, still hasn't learned from it. And he's the world champion, by the way. He basically put the world title on himself and wasn't advertised in the match. And I don't even want to get into it because I want to talk about positive things like the PWF Mid-South and UW, which I am very excited about. Hillbilly Tilly wants to say hello. Now, Xavier Thorne has said hello. Xavier Thorne says, bow down to the uprising world champion, the greatest, longest champion, almost 400 days. But how the hell are you? Now, I don't know if do you want me to ask you on Xavier Thorne? Let's move on. Move on, right?
Uh,
Move on. Let's move on. Let's move on.
I
Let's
love
move
him.
on.
Gotta love him.
I love Xavier, but let's move on. I think I'll let you answer it, but I can answer it as well. There are technically two PWFs. So there's one. You have the version in the South in Tennessee,
Yeah, I've
and the
got Pride
version.
Wrestling.
God,
I got Pride Wrestling Federation Mid South,
correct.
and then there's Pride Wrestling Federation, which is
And
which
I, with us, it's basically Justin Parsley is our champion. Justin is the
Mhm.
champion who works for XCW. Actually, tonight on XCW's show Greed, actually advertised the PWF World Title, and he's technically defending that title next week against his former tag team partner Rob Slater, because Rob Slater won the Kurt Acid Memorial Cup thing. He actually eliminated Justin Parsley in the Battle Royal. So you've got a whole bunch of things going on here. So the irony of this is that Justin Parsley is defending the PWF title in another promotion. And I mean, that's a whole other thing. I don't even know what to say on that. But there are two PWFs currently. But the way I see it, we're all on the same page. Yours is
well,
based
okay.
in Tennessee, and yeah, yours is based in Tennessee. Ours was crowned in Ohio in Summer Bash, which obviously a lot of people supported. You were very supportive of that as well. A lot of people were.
Very, very supportive. Yes.
I think Summer Bash was great, and I'm, really hoping next year, because I think the announcement, I'm sure you heard, or maybe you didn't hear, I'll bring you up to speed, is that next year's Summer Bash is actually going to be held at the IMF's arena in the Palo Community Center, and it's going to take place there, and I'm sure there's going to be even more companies this time, and I'm sure, I have no doubt that the PWF Mid-South would definitely be welcomed with welcome arms, because on this platform, we're all about open collaboration. I know Omen and Soldier are always very supportive about bringing different people in, along with Darkron and the guys in DKW who are responsible from that. So definitely, I'd like to see the PWF Mid-South a part of things in Summer Bash 3 next year, because technically there was Summer Bash 1 last year. It was really just IMF and DKW, but this year there was a dozen plus companies. But to answer that question, Hillbilly Tilly, there are two PWFs. This is the one we're talking about right now. Justin Parsley on my side of it, alongside Omen and Soldier, which shown the other portion of it is based in Iowa with some ties in Indiana and Ohio as well. And Justin Parsley is our champion, and they're going to have a great champion as well very soon. How you doing, Dimitri Green? Good to see you, my friend, our favorite general manager, who I think I got to get on one of these days. I got to get him
Yeah,
on.
we definitely got to get him on.
I think he messaged me, Dimitri. I think we spoke briefly. I think there's so many people at this point I speak to, but I think, yes, Dimitri, I'm going to get on here in the month of August. August is going to definitely be good in the second half of the month. The second half of August, definitely want that. Your tag team partner is here, obviously the Southern champion, and I see that he's starting. I think IGPW is coming back, I hear, as well.
Yes, that is something else that we have been working on. IGPW is now partnered with PWF Mid-South as well.
So, I love that, because it's now you're getting different people to work together, different umbrellas to help support the company, to help give legs to stand on. And I love that. Chase has been a friend. Chase has been somebody that has been here a bunch of times. He and I speak regularly, and I like to see good people working together. I'm really excited about it. I know you're excited about it, because it's your tag team partner of Dirty's House.
Yeah.
So for you love it. Absolutely, good stuff there. Thank you for your support. And my friend Mr. ATK is in the house. I know you definitely know ATK.
Yeah.
ATK is here in 2 weeks from Saturday. I'm very excited about ATK, and I'm glad that ATK is safe and sound, because if you haven't known by now, his Instagram got hacked. So if he sent you a follow request, it's because his other Instagram got hacked. So don't give him $100, because it would be somebody else that probably want to defraud your bank account. So I'm glad ATK is doing well. Zilla gives us the usual comments, and Zilla is basically happy to see you. The legendary Doc Holliday, another man that I have to get on this platform, and I hope that'll happen one day. Somebody help me out with that. And a man I want to give my well wishes to, and I hope everybody joins me in that, and wishing Big Man Cam a speedy recovery, He is the CBW World Champion, the XCW New Age Champ, also center of things in Summer Bash, also ROEW Superstar. Unfortunately, has a neck injury, and he's on the sidelines for a little while. And I want to wish Big Man Cam, TikTok influencer. And by the way, the man that actually gave me a cameo, yes, I am the only person in Big Man Cam's cameo history to have gotten a cameo video from Big Man Cam, and he is one of my buddies. And I hope everybody joins me in wishing the man that is as big as Bigfoot with a size 37 shoe, and definitely one of the most larger than life personalities that we have in the backyard in the underground wrestling circuit. All the best.
Most ignorant.
Yes. Love Big Man Cam. As if I don't love Big Man Cam, he will take his size 37 shoe, even with a neck injury, and just shove it down my throat, which I'm sure some people after the past few days would probably want. Let me get to more comments. Yes, thank you, Zilla, for the kind words. Dimitri loves that. I love having Dimitri here. The talent in the PWF Mid-South is going to bring the show, baby. I believe that. These two guys are going to bust the tag team division wide open. That's what we heard. We heard a lot about that. I know some UWA tag team stuff is going to be coming down the works as well. And if you want to buy some merchandise, some great merchandise here, some PWF Mid-South shirts, and that helps PWF. How about these book bags here, these nice little book bags? If you got kids going back to school, if you want to go put some collectible items into the book bag, or what do they call them now, drawn string bags? I remember when it was back in the days, it was like JanSport, and it was East Pack, I think it was. Now they've got drawn string book bags. I remember as a kid, I never got a JanSport up until I was like a senior in high school because we couldn't afford a JanSport. But now it's a different world. You got these things. Go buy them. I can afford them. You can afford them now. Let's go support these guys. Got some great merchandise here. I see a whole bunch of stuff here. That PWF logo, the Cody Flores logo. We got accessories. We look at all this great stuff here. We got mouse pads. We got stickers. I mean, look at all back to school. It's crazy. You know, in the South, back to school is about to start here, I think, in the next week or so. So if you need to get some back to school stuff, you got to go. Well, in New York, they don't go back until September. But in New York, they almost don't ever go to school. These kids in New York, it's crazy. When I was a kid in New York City, we went to school almost every other day. Now they get off like every week. There's like 25 holidays. There's like staff days the teachers get. But we love our teachers. I don't want to turn this into a teacher discussion, but we love our teachers. You love the baby. There's baby stuff here. I mean, no baby oil like Andre the Giant said, but we got the women's stuff. So if the ladies want some PWF Mid-South merchandise, let's go do it. Gift cards even. Boy, Dimitri Green he was the most genius general manager to put this together. I mean, people tell me I should be doing more things like this, but I can't take money from the people because I've got enough money right now for now. But my friend Michael Christian, who gave me, what a nice shirt he gave me, what a nice card that Michael Christian gave me the other day. So thankful for Michael Christian's friendship and support. Yes. And Dimitri Green has his eye on Aaron Blaze. Everybody has their eye on Aaron Blaze. So he's got a good eye, to quote those that used to play baseball. Nicholas Crenson, who was victorious today in WCE's otherwise really good show, Ring of Destruction. It's a really good show, actually. It was really one of their better shows in a while, despite what happened with Craven Rage. Happy Nicholas Crenson Day for yourself. Congratulations on the big win. This guy, I'm pretty sure, we're going to get to UWA shortly. His name is Jay Cal. He is definitely the headshot, and I know you probably have a thing or two to say about what him and Dalton. I got you, Taylor. We will train together, so you fill in the blanks. Want to say hello to my friend Darkron, newest member of the ROEW roster. I was speaking with Darkron, and Darkron reminds me of yourself, just one of the nicest people. And I know you're going to get mad at me for saying this, but one of the nicest people in this circuit, alongside yourself, is Darkron. Talks to me every day, tells me what I'm doing, what I should not be doing. A lot of things, I'm only kidding. Tells me a lot of things I should be doing, which a lot of people want to say. But Darkron is a great man. I'm looking forward to Darkron coming back here very soon. I'm looking forward to seeing what the DKW guys do in ROEW. And who knows, maybe we'll see some DKW stuff in the PWF Mid-South. You just never know. And let me get to a couple of things here. Well, now that we're spoiling stuff, I'm facing Tom in a death match this December. I'm the world champion and have the belt already. So basically, I got this. So basically, what Big Man Cam is telling you is that I've basically signed over my death certificate. So come December, it's going to be Big Man Cam that's going to be running Sportzwire Radio. Not going to be Omen Black anymore. Not going to be Anthony Steele. It's going to be Big Man Cam. Big Man Cam is going to be the new owner, the new host of Sportswire Radio. So from now on, after December, Tristan Taylor, unfortunately or fortunately, maybe fortunately for you, Big Man Cam's going to be interviewing you. So I've got basically 4.5 months left. So it's a great next 4.5 months. I hope everybody certainly enjoys the last 4.5 months because Big Man Cam is going to be the new person. Finally, finally I was looking to retire. Now I got to have a death certificate because finally, I was thinking about to call it quits, but now Big Man Cam, he's basically, signed the certificate for me. I'm signed, sealed, delivered, and Big Man Cam is yours after all. I mean, first, get me to 1,000 subs, by the way. I am at Sportswire Radio 6579. So if you were out there right now, go hit the sub button. I'm 182 subs away from 1,000. And why is 1,000 important? Well, 2 reasons. Number one, I get a tattoo, my NEW Underground Wrestling tattoo. But secondly, guys like you, Tristan Taylor, and everybody else out there in the chat, you get to take over Sportswire Radio for the night. You get to roast me like Tom Brady was roasted. You can come on down here and ask questions, take over. That's why everyone's got to go help me and get me to 1,000. I've noticed every day I'm gaining 1 or 2. I'm gaining 2 here, 3 there. So help me. There's 27 people watching right now. So everybody knows what they need to do. Hit the sub button or get their friends to hit the sub button. So you, my friend, can take over and everybody, because everybody I think is sick and tired of me being your voice, figuratively and literally. We're all wrestling matters. I think everybody wants somebody else now to be in prime time, the brightest lights, the biggest. Because after all, I mean, we know the news now that TNT is probably going to get out of the NBA business, and they're going to have to give up inside the NBA. And guys like Charles Barkley are going to have to go somewhere else. So maybe as your Charles Barkley of the backyard in the underground wrestling circuit, there might be guys like Big Man Cam that obviously want to stick it to me, and other guys like yourself and others that want to take over. So there you have it. Let me say hello to CJ. I'm going to get to him in about 5 minutes. My very dear friend, Mr. Joseph Tibbs, your counterpart in Resurrection Wrestling. Obviously, they have a big show coming up this Saturday, the Revenge Rumble. We're going to see a lot of familiar faces here. And by the way, tomorrow or Saturday, I'm going to have a surprise. You might want to tune into that one. So tune into that. That'll be a big surprise. And it actually involves Resurrection Wrestling. So I'm going to be hosting a show at midnight tomorrow or Saturday, depending on how you see it. And there's going to be a surprise related to the Revenge Rumble. You will definitely want to tune into that one. My very good friend, James Taylor, another counterpart of yours, the ROEW owner, is in the house. My very good buddy, Mr. James Taylor. Yes, and yes, James, I think his Instagram got hacked because you probably had the same thing that happened to me. He wanted to ask you for $100, but the difference was he might have really wanted $100 from me, and I don't know if he really wanted $100 from you, but that's okay. Oh, CJ basically said I got the same message. Oh, there we go. So forget about what I just said, James. Forget about it. Maybe I got hacked. And also, Big Man Cam wants to say thank you, man. I appreciate it. I'll be back soon enough, of course. The body part I protect the most is the one that gets hurt. Ooh, well, does that mean you're still coming back to Sportswire? Hey, Big Man, we need to do another TikTok live battle. Yes, these guys were battling over TikTok lives. They were actually battling over James Taylor going back to Silverwolf's show because, James saw that Brett Anderson had such a horrible appearance and a horrible time on Silverwolf's show that he thought, you know what? Maybe I could save Silverwolf's show. Maybe I could use that James Taylor magic touch of the 84,000 followers on TikTok, 1,000 followers nearly on YouTube, the Taffy's Lounge, which is nearly 1,000 subs on YouTube, and use some of that star power to kind of help Silverwolf maybe become the premier force in the backyard in the underground wrestling. Maybe that's what it is. You know what? Maybe everybody wants to go to Silverwolf show. If you're out there in the chat, maybe you all should go to Silverwolf show because if James goes on there, that'll change. It'll save the circuit. That's what we need. Maybe James goes on Silverwolf show, and maybe, just maybe, Silverwolf can be the guy. He can be the front man. He can be the person to be in prime time, the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the only platform where wrestling matters. Drawstring bags. Never seen that in BYW merchandise. What a brilliant story, by the way. Somebody needs to go buy some merchandise. No, he's laughing his ass off. We're not going to take you off Sportswire. I won't do it. You sure about that? I'm sure there's plenty of people that would like to. Yeah, we will do that at some point. Want to say hello to my friend Brett Anderson, who basically said, well, boy, Tom, you had to bring up Silverwolf, didn't you? But I just did. My very good buddy, my Samoa. Now, you got to find a way to sign this guy, Il Drago. He's in Iowa at the IMF. This guy can go, man. And he can talk, by the way. This guy, he's a superstar.
I watched him in the
Rumble? No, the ladder match, right?
The ladder match, the Rumble, and in the the other battle royal that they had for the pick your number.
Yes,
And
that was in the last IMF show. Correct, in the Palo Community Center. Correct.
yes, and he did fantastic, and definitely want him to appear in Mid South.
Oh, I love this guy. I love him. He's just a great guy. He's just out of Central Casting, straight out of Central Casting. Another guy that I just see big things from. Chris Craven even was talking about how much he loved him, and guys come on here. I mean, this guy to me is a superstar. He's just got written in baseball. They would say 7-tool players. This guy is 7 tools. He can talk. He can wrestle. He's got locker room ability. He's a leader. He dresses well. He looks the part. The guy's a superstar. I hope he becomes like everybody else here in this circuit. I tell you what, I'm very excited about him. And Billy Tilley wants to say that my funeral will follow Tom and Cam's death match. Yes, James would definitely give the eulogy for that, and I'm sure that a lot of people would love to see that. And by the way, hopefully my resting place will be across the street from my house because I have a cemetery across the street. Aaron Blaze, I'm the man that you said. The people, they're fired up. The people, I tell you, you know what? It was good you were an hour late because now the people they come out in droves. It's just they come out. They got nowhere to go. They want to see me get ridiculed and roasted. That's what it is. But let me say, yes. How you doing, Zilla? The good guy CJ Black is in the house. Obviously, I know he's going to be here real soon. Stay tuned. I would love to go on Silver Wolf Show. I could probably talk him into signing. Maybe that's the way to go. CJ Black could maybe go to Silver Wolf. Everybody should go. You know what? I think now it's time for Sportzwire to close. Let everybody go to Silver Wolf. That's it. Everybody go to Silver Wolf. You could go on the show and you could sit there when they're trying to figure out like the audio connection. They're like waiting for the dead air. You hear like the crickets going. It's like Budweiser, like the crickets, all like that would be like Silver Wolf. So everybody should go there. I'm telling you, that's where the future is. Want to say hello to my buddy, Mr. Ethan Dixon, all the way out there in the UK up at 4:43 in the morning. How you doing, my very good friend? Yes, I miss UK wrestling coverage. I plan to bring it back one of these days. Yes, I have a lot of listeners still in the UK, but the problem is I haven't been able to do much UK coverage the past few months because, first of all, I had a job, but then now my job's really now become the backyard in the underground wrestling circuit, but I will get to it eventually. Yes. Great to see Tristan back here. I could not agree more. Always like to see our fellow colleagues here. And hey, Tristan also. And spare everyone from Silver Wolf. It reminds me of that Bret Hart promo years ago on Raw with Shawn Michaels. And he was like, spare me your pity or something like that I could certainly do. Thanks. I appreciate that, Oost. And I will keep you in my contacts. I'll connect you with him. I'll do it off the air. I got you. I'll take care of you.
All right.
And I'm doing well. Okay, so we got some of that out of the way. I want to get to some business. And now in the world of the UWA, the Underground Wrestling Alliance. I'm going to put up the UWA stuff here shortly. And, last you were here, there was certainly a lot that we talked about. We thought you were going to be wrestling CJ for the world title, but there was, let's just say a wrench, maybe a fork in the road, because now CJ, unfortunately, just like Big Man Cam, is on the sidelines for a short period. We wish CJ very well. Obviously, CJ is a friend of the platform. Definitely want to see him back in the ring soon, see him back here on Sportswire Radio. But for those that are listening and watching here on Sportswire Radio, in prime time, the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the only platform where all wrestling matters, talk to me about your matchup coming here with Sammy Slade. I know we touched upon it very briefly a few minutes ago, but what can we expect? And how are you feeling mentally going from what was to be an expected world title match now to a number one contenders match?
Well, it's one of those things that, ET called me, told me that CJ has been pulled out. Wasn't upset because things happen. We all get, injuries happen.
Absolutely.
I asked if he was okay because, one, I don't like people getting hurt.
100%. We don't want
that's just one of those things that did find out that it was, something that couldn't be helped. It was outside of the ring. It was something that was just something that it couldn't just was a freak accident. It couldn't help.
Accidents happen. What can you do?
Yeah. So going from CJ going to Slade, especially with the hot streak that he has been on. I've got to up everything. And especially with it being the first match back, a little nervous. Definitely a little nervous. The nerves are a little bit on a scale of 1 to 10. They're about a 9.5.
Wow. Okay, you're really like we're almost talking like first day of school jitters, first match in your
Yeah.
career. Oh boy, you're really nervous.
Oh, little bit nervous,
Okay.
but you know, it's familiar. It's familiar territory. I am back in the ring. I am training, so it's going for that. I have been studying the tapes. It's still very familiar. It's still very fresh in the mind. So I think once I get back now that I'm back in the ring, I think it's going to be a little bit less nerve wracking, especially once the music hits and the lights go down.
Let me ask you a question. Is it more nerves because of what's on the line? Let's just say, for all intents and purposes, it wasn't even a title match or a number one contender. Let's just say it was a regular match. Would you still be as nervous? Talk to me about that.
I still think I'd be nervous just because it is the first match back. I don't think I'd be as nervous, but just because I came back from an injury, that mindset is still there. It's just like, okay, what happens if this happens or this happens or this happens? Because I was on concussion protocol. Even though I didn't get hurt in the ring for the concussion, I just got cleared last month for the concussion. So that thought is still there.
Let me ask you a different question. Going from an expected title match to now a number one contenders match. I know you're a veteran. I know your family's been in this sport a long time. You've been around the block. You've been around this sport pretty much since you're an infant. But mentally, was that deflating? Were you deflated basically going from a title match to now where basically you have to win to get in? It's almost like if somebody said, if you're a football fan or you're a football player, for example, and your team had clinched a playoff spot and was going to the playoffs, but all of a sudden a few days later they said, well, you know what? You're not in the playoffs. You have to win to get in. I would imagine that would be very deflating. Did you feel deflated knowing what was basically taken away from you?
In my case, no, because I demanded a title match,
right,
and I got it. But now I have to prove to the world that I deserve it.
Sure, but you were still given a title shot, and that's obviously an important prize. CJ's been champion for a long time. He's been champion for over a year, and I think that you talked about here, you felt you could beat him. I mean, you were like, you felt like you had a shot, but now you're going up, as you talked about. Sammy Slade's been on this run, and just the state of mind he's in. I mean, I don't know if I'd want to even be right next to him, let alone in a ring, and you have to go do that. This is your first match back. That's why I'm curious in a way if you're deflated in some sense. I know you got to shake it off. You have to go back out there. We're going to see the match. I know on the UWA YouTube page. I'm going to put the YouTube link up here shortly. But, I mean, it's got to be still deflating in some, because it does remind me of if I was, let's say, a football player and my team had clinched a playoff spot. And now they said, well, now you have to win again to go in. And that would still be difficult in some senses. So, I mean, obviously you're a veteran. Your family's been around it. So maybe that's why you just kind of shake it off, forget about it, and just you have to deal with the card that you've been dealt with.
I mean, it was I don't really feel deflated because I guess I still see this as a win-win situation. He's two up on me. So if I beat him, he still feels like he's the number one contender. If I beat him, he gets knocked down a peg, and he's got to go back to the back of the line.
Sure. I mean, but I think that ultimately he's got a lot on the line too. He's going to be fired up because
Mm-hmm.
basically we know it originally he was supposed to have an open challenge. Now, I mean, I almost would want to be him right now because he was basically upset about being in the outside looking in, but now he's got a chance to get back in the inside, and he could do that at the expense of you. And if I'm Sammy Slade, what better way to do that by then going up against a man that not only owns a company I'm about to work for, but also is in his first match back in the ring in months. I mean, he might be more fired up than when he had a shot at CJ in that triple threat match a few months ago.
That's true. He's probably going to be pissed off,
Oh,
especially at main right at the
absolutely.
moment.
He's been mad for months. I mean, what are we talking about? He's been mad since what, the Jamboree? What, that's going on now 5 months almost. He's been mad.
I mean, I kind of cost him the Southern title too, so
Well, he wants the world title though right now, and that's we're talking about. That situation's been going on for the better part of what, 5-6 months, give or take.
yeah.
And he's going to want to get that at the expense of you. I mean, that's why to me, this is such an intriguing match. And from the vantage point, if you were ever a boxing fan, in boxing, they would always kind of say these would be sometimes the matches that were almost like a championship match. I guess I could look at it and say, do you feel like this is a championship match because the winner of it gets the shot at CJ? So do you feel like still maybe why you're not deflated is because in a way it is a championship match because if you win it, you get the crack anyway at CJ?
Yeah. Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, in all honesty, if once I beat Slade, then I go on to beat CJ, then I still have a guaranteed shot at Aaron Blaze for the Heritage title. Then I go on to beat it. Aaron Blaze, I'm a dual champion in UWA.
Ooh. And you think Aaron Blaze could beat Mikey Reedy, right? You think he can beat him?
Most definitely.
Yeah. Mikey Reedy's not in his class, right? I mean, Mikey Reedy's just a hardcore wrestler, just a guy that likes to mix it up a little bit outside in the ring. But you feel like you and Aaron Blaze would be a banger and you could be a dual champion. And how about Tristan Two Belts? I mean, boy, what would that say in this circuit? I had a guy on here a couple weeks ago who, by the way, I want to give him a big shout out. His name is Comatose. He's coming here next Monday, and he holds 3 belts in BTW in the great state of Oregon. And he's a triple champion. He's a interpromotional champion, a continental champion. He's a triple champion. For all we know, you could work your way to 2 belts and who knows how many belts there after that. So why not win here? Why not beat CJ? And why not take the title, the Heritage title of Aaron Blaze and let him focus going somewhere else? And you could be not only, well, the man of the UWA, but maybe we'll call you, Tristan Taylor, not only the black label, but we'll call you basically the top dollar, quote unquote, of the Mid-South. We'll basically call you the man at the top of this circuit in the backyard in the underground of the Mid-South.
There we go.
Okay, well, we're going to find out. I'm going to take this off the screen first of all, and then I'm going to put the UWA's YouTube page up. So let me get to some comments here. Let me say hello to a few people. First of all, yes, some of the CCW guys do want to come back on. It's a matter of my schedule aligning. I think that it will happen. Stay tuned for details. But yes, we've been in conversations to bring CCW back in. CCW has changed dramatically in 2 months. Did I ever think Dustin Hart would be with the Elite? Probably not. But this is the Breakpoint champion. Now, you familiar with Breakpoint wrestling there? Have you been following what's going on there? Xavier Thorne was there. He's out, and their champion just called out D'Angelo the Flame. Are you familiar with some of that, or are you just been busy focusing on killing Sammy Slade and finishing that 2-year rivalry and getting more big names to come into PWF Mid-South?
I've kind of been focused and a little bit busy right at the moment.
Can't blame you. Can't blame you. Let me ask you, though, a side question. I will get to comments. I want to come back to the UWA in a second, but I do want to come back on one thing of collaboration because you guys are obviously getting ready for the Mid-South PWF to kick off here probably in the next few months. We're having a lot of guys come on here, and, we're obviously on the same team in a way. But there was a company that came on here last weekend, and they're out of Atlanta, Future Atlanta Pro Wrestling. You probably heard of them.
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Hardcore is the guy that's the general manager, kind of like Dimitri Green. Mr. Hardcore is a guy that obviously has roots in the Global Backyard Wrestling Network with GWC Intensity, the longest episodic show in the history of the backyard and the underground wrestling circuit, which was started by some guy named Copper Dragon. And guys that have come out of there like Asiego Jones, Fred Yehai, Skrilla, Shalance Royal. It's an amazing group of talent. Vegas Storm is also a part of the roster. He was in the GWC. He was here last week. And I was wondering, Atlanta, Future Atlanta Pro Wrestling, they got some pretty big names. Cliff Balcom. They've got Andre Anomaly. They've got Franchise Peace, who's like a stand-up comedian. He's a rapper. They've got some really big names that a lot of people know about in the Southern area. Would you collaborate or be interested in collaborating with those like in the Future Atlanta Pro Wrestling? Because I understand you know a little bit about Future Atlanta Pro Wrestling through a birdie.
Mm-hmm. I do.
You do?
Through a little birdie, I do.
Through a birdie. So obviously you know a little bit about them, and they have a show coming up on August the 24th. I don't know if you might want to scout some talent there, but Vegas Storm's going to be there. They're going to have a big gauntlet match. They're going to have a battle royal, and they're going to have a slew of different guys that are going to be competing there. So maybe that might be something you keep an eye on then.
I am. I'm keeping my eye on them.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll certainly let Mr. Hardcore know that, and I'll certainly say stay tuned. Yes, we respect CJ. We send prayers to him. Our PWF champion in my side of the things here, Justin Parsley, calls it now Parsley's Wrestling Federation. It's not Parsley's Wrestling Federation. It just want to make it clear. We're the Pride Wrestling Federation Mid-South, and we're the Pride Wrestling Federation here. So he might, obviously, he's a big name. He's a 4-time Hall of Famer. We'll get you there to 4-time Hall of Famers as well, Mr. Taylor. But Mr. Parsley is obviously very confident. He's very, but and I'm very happy he's my champion, by the way. I'm very happy he's the PWF champion. I'm very happy he's the only 4-time Sportswire Radio Hall of Famer. But I would still respectfully say it's the Pride Wrestling Federation because we have a lot of pride when we take part in this circuit for us. I just want to let you know.
I kind of want to respond to that for Mr. Parsley real quick.
Right. Oh, I would love to hear it. Let's go.
Mr. Parsley, with all due respect, there's only one thing that we respond to with that, and that is...
Oh, did I just hear what I just heard? Oh, 4 up, 4 down. Justin Parsley's going to get, oh boy. After what I saw today on XCW's Greed Show with Justin Parsley and the state of mind he was here last weekend when his Hall of Fame ceremony was interrupted by Soldier GP and also the likes of Omen Black and Dirty Donnie. Oh my goodness. Boy, you can now see all of a sudden the firing wagons are coming here. Shots have been fired. Boy, certainly. I don't know why Tristan Taylor got in the middle of that. All I want to say is the Pride Wrestling Federation, I'm happy Justin Parsley is my champion, but boy, did a keg of worms been opened. If you thought the last 2 days with Anthony Steele going off on everybody and DJ Wahlberg suddenly appearing and also with Chris Craven, what happened there and Craven Rage, but I think Tristan Taylor topped all of that and some tenfold after what he just said, basically going 4 up, 4 down to Justin Parsley. Yes, we appreciate it, Mikey Reed. Yes.
I gotta support my boys.
Well, I would have just said, let's just call it Pride Wrestling Federation. I'm happy Justin Parsley is my champion, but let me get to some more comments here. CJ says, you beating me? Keep dreaming. What do you say on that?
Dreaming?
Yes.
No.
Are you dreaming right now? Because we're live in prime time, the brightest lights, the biggest stage. We just started the weekend here. So are you dreaming right now or no?
No, I think he's dreaming.
What do you think he's dreaming about? Dreaming about becoming 100% and injury-free?
Probably either that or putting on sunscreen.
Ooh. Or maybe he's dreaming about not having any more injuries. Maybe he's dreaming about what it's like to actually be able to dream and sleep comfortably, because now maybe he's sleeping with one eye open because he knows that we're
Or
waiting.
he's dreaming about getting this back.
Oh, that's a good point, because that's something that you hold possession of. That's a good point.
Or at least one of them. One of them.
It's a good
One of the
point.
many.
You know what? Good news, but I got breaking news. CJ has got breaking news. This is the only platform, not even Silverwolf Show could give you this. CJ has now announced to the world he is going to be 100% for Unleashed. We unleashed that breaking news that you might, if you so are lucky to be able to get past Sammy Slade, that you're getting CJ at Unleashed. Oh, and he's going to be unleashed in the East. To quote Judas Priest, he is definitely going to be delivering that green Menelashi. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. And CJ he's waiting in the wings. So CJ is getting close to being healthy. I can't wait about that. And the Pride Wrestling Federation, my B boss. I'm going to move away from saying no comment on that. We are the Pride Wrestling Federation. We definitely take pride in what we do here in the backyard in the underground wrestling circuit. If people want to represent Pride, can do that. They're welcome to in their own time, but I just know it's not Parsley's Wrestling Federation. But as I told you, he did not like that 4-up, 4-down reference. I definitely told you that he was not happy about that. Well, you're screwed. Whoever is. Well, actually, Sammy Slade would be.
Hey, it could go either way. It could be me or Slade. So whoever it is.
Could you look at it and say conversely that CJ is the one that's in rather the awkward spot, because CJ has been out of action now for a while. We haven't seen CJ in all through this. Now, he was here on this platform. Yes, he was here, and we certainly enjoyed having him here on Sportswire Radio. It was obviously a pleasure, but if you think about it, we haven't seen the champion in the ring since Final Destination 3. So conversely, maybe we could say that you or Sammy Slade is the one that has the advantage, because you or Sammy Slade will have competed recently, where the champion, on the other hand, has been on the sidelines. What do you think on that?
Honestly,
yeah.
I mean, yeah, he's going to be fresh, but it's going to be more recent that we're going to be in the ring. We're going to have trained a little bit more. So, yeah, I think either both me or Slade are going to have the advantage going against CJ.
Because he has to be able to get himself back in the ring. It's been a while. He's dealt with the injury. He has to deal with the process of recovering from it. He has to deal with also now being in a position where he's seen you guys recently wrestle. You guys go out there, and one of you is going to have significant momentum, and that could very well carry you into that match. Okay, well, we'll certainly say thank you, Brett, for that. And we're also joined on the PWF YouTube page and the Promo Wrestling Federation YouTube page. Faith over fear. So CJ is what he's saying as usual, and he's not worried, and I guess maybe we shouldn't be worried. So you're not worried at all should you face CJ then?
No, not worried about it.
Okay. Fair? Okay, that's fair.
My thing is, yes, I want the world title.
Who wouldn't?
And I know it's going to be a long, hard fight regardless.
Absolutely.
But I know what to work on.
Fair. Okay, let me ask you this. And how excited are you to be able to get back out in the ring now that we're so close? Last Rites is right around the corner. How excited are you to now finally get back out there again?
Very, very excited. Very just over the moon about getting back out there, getting back into the ring, being able to perform again. I don't know if there's words to explain exactly how excited I am to get back in there and perform for everybody again.
Well, to quote the band Extreme, it's going to be more than words, because more than words will be able to kind of, for your feelings, be out there in the ring and be able to go out there and last rites, because you're going to have a number one contendership match against Sammy Slade to determine who will face CJ. But before I get to a few more things, This is the UWA YouTube page. They're a few subscribers away from 600. So if you're out there right now, hit the sub button for them. They're almost there. Everyone's talking about me getting to 1,000. Let's get them to 600. Let's get them more eyes on the prize. Let's get them more eyeballs. Let's support All Wrestling Matters. The UWA has been an enthusiastic supporter of us here on Sportswire Radio. I can't thank enough Jay Cal. I can't thank enough everybody in the locker room for their support. They're on my team. I want you to be on their team too. Go hit the sub button for them. We have another about 20 or so more minutes with Tristan Taylor, who is also the co-owner of the PWF Mid-South. You can get in touch with them on Facebook, Instagram. You can also check out the PWF YouTube page for future shows. You can also check them out on threadless.com for merchandise, pwfmidsouth.threadless.com. I'll put that link up here as well. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice, figuratively and literally, where all wrestling matters. I'm going to be here twice tomorrow or today, New York time. I'm here at about 10:15 p.m. Eastern time with Ace Reed. Ace is the host of the Wired Up podcast. He is also the BWU World Champion. He's also the new Wrestling Zero Champion. He's one of their champions. He cashed in. He won a contract there and went right for the jugular. And Ace Reed's going to be here live. Plus, I'll be here at about 12 o'clock or a little bit before that. And I'll have a special surprise, a major surprise that's going to shock the backyard and the underground wrestling circuit. So you want to tune into that one. Also, please support Ace Reed. BWU on YouTube has over 1,000 subscribers. They just hit 1,000. I'm about to get 1,000. So help me get one step closer and hit the sub button for me at Sportswire Radio 6579. I'm on TikTok now. I am actually now over 150 followers in a few weeks on TikTok. Thank you for your support. Instagram, I just crossed 1,600 followers. So I thank everybody for your support. And Facebook, I just crossed 2,300. So get me one step closer to 1,000, and you can roast me on Sportswire Radio. You can control the platform. Let me get to some more comments here. Vegas Storm is in the house. Boy, Vegas Storm. Like Joe Hendry, say his name, he appears. Now, Vegas Storm. Now, that's a guy, I got to be honest, just real quick to take a slight detour. You think about PWF Mid-South. You think about a guy like Vegas Storm, who's got the heart of a warrior, a guy that basically prides himself in being like John Cena, a guy that is a true professional, a guy that came on here and was one of the most professional people I have ever seen in the backyard in the underground wrestling circuit, a guy that's mentor is Copper Dragon. I would have to think you and Dimitri Green might be able to make an exception and maybe see if we could get good old Vegas Storm maybe down there into Tennessee, and maybe we could work together, because this is a guy that I would recommend to play on my team just about anywhere.
Get me in contact with him.
Good deal. I'm very happy to hear that, because Vegas Storm, he can go. Anybody that's a protege of Mr. Hardcore and Copper Dragon could be on anybody's team. And speaking of that, say his name, he appears like Joe Hendry. Mr. Hardcore is here. What a coincidence. Good evening,
Yes,
gentlemen. Hope we can collaborate together in the future. Would be a fun and exciting adventure. Who knows what magic could be made from? You know, it's funny because on the PWF Mid-South page, right, we talk about proud to be a part of the All Wrestling Matters movement, right? And Mr. Hardcore talks to me almost every day on a daily or a weekly basis and tells me how much it means to him to see all these collaborations going on in the backyard in the underground wrestling circuit. Now, for whatever reason, he wants to credit me. I'm not sure if I should take the credit. I appreciate some credit, but here he is now, Mr. Hardcore, and I think he wants to get in on the fun. He wants to get in on the adventure, and he's the guy that was one of the guys at the forefront of the Global Backyard Wrestling Network, and one of the guys that was at the head of the class when it came to the longest episodic running show in the history of the backyard and the underground wrestling circuit in GWC intensity. I mean, how about that?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be open to collaborating in all kinds of shows. So DMs are open.
You want me to connect, or you think you have that contact? Because I can do something for you. I mean, I don't have to get involved. Maybe I should just take a slight detour. I'll take a step back, but only if you insist. I can certainly make that introduction for you.
Tommy, you were always welcome to make introductions for me.
Are you sure? All right. Well, fair
Yes.
enough. Well, I'll certainly take care of that off the air. But I would just like to say I would love to see future Atlanta Pro Wrestling in the PWF Mid South World. Because think about it for a second. I know we'll get to UWA, but I mean, after all, I mean, we see what IMF has done with DKW, WCE. We see these other companies that have worked in Summer Bash. We've seen OMW. We've seen ROEW, certainly ROEW. We've seen companies that have gone in there and have been a part of this movement. We see now the All Wrestling Matters hardcore tournament. We saw the All Wrestling Matters World Championship crowned in Summer Bash. We saw the Riot in the Ring. We saw all these people come across the place. We saw Resurrection Wrestling, huge part of Summer Bash. Shout out to Resurrection Wrestling. We even saw Skippy the Evil Clown from the Promo Wrestling Federation. I mean, I know that was crazy. I mean, listen, I don't even want to tell you half the story on that. But the point is, ladies and gentlemen, why not the PWF Mid-South work with great things like IGPW? Why not work with great people like what ET has brought to the table with Brett Anderson and Will Jackson and all the things they've done in the Virginia backyard underground wrestling circuit? But why not further add to the fun in the future Atlanta Pro Wrestling, which is about to resume on August the 24th, and the roster of names that they already have? They got some star power on their roster, guys with thousands of followers. So why not add to it? After all, we're all about open collaboration. I mean, what better open collaboration to be collaborating with basically guys that have worked side by side to build the global backyard wrestling network? I mean, sounds to me like that's something that I would definitely want to do. I mean, that sounds like something to me that, yeah, and Vegas Storm said he's got goosebumps hearing this. He got goosebumps, which I think he's lying, but he got goosebumps hearing what I'm talking about right now. So what does that say, ladies and gentlemen? That maybe we should see more collaborations. Why not have the fun? I mean, listen, didn't Michael Jackson famously sing, "Don't stop till you get enough"? I mean, we should never stop.
Yep.
We should never get enough. I mean, after all, I mean, the fun's only just getting started. And what better way to do that with UWA and PWF Mid-South and, all these different collaborations that could be out there. SBA, which was a part of things, UWA, and, all these Infinity and all these different groups. I mean, just why not? I mean, that's what I would say.
I completely 100% agree.
Oh, well, I'm certainly glad that you, because I was waiting for you to say I disagree, but that's okay. We appreciate that very much. Thank you, Vegas Storm. Thank you very much for that. Okay, well, great stuff on there. I'll come back to that. So let me ask you a couple of other things here before I go. I know you're a busy man. You got a lot on your plate. You're juggling management, owner responsibilities. You got UWA stuff to get to. But let me ask you first, simple question in layman's terms. What would it mean to you to defeat Sammy Slade and become the #1 contender to the UWA World Championship and face off with CJ at Unleashed?
Definitely notch on the belt. It's be a long time coming. I don't know if there's a specific feeling that I would get.
Mm-hmm.
It would just I don't know. It's just one of those things that would just kind of be like, okay, it's time for the next one.
I think I may have asked this question before, but I'll ask it again because the match itself has changed along with your opponent. Is this the biggest match of your career?
I'd say it's probably the biggest match that I would have in UWA right now.
Okay, it's a good point. It's a good follow up because you've obviously had other matches. Let me ask you another follow up to that. I know we talked about your family before and advice and juggling responsibilities, but have you asked them for advice about what's to come in terms of how to prepare for this particular match? Because you do have an advantage. Your family have competed in this sport at a very high level. Have you asked them for any advice?
Yeah, I have talked to my uncle. He's he didn't know what really to say other than the fact that he's just like, I'm a big guy, so you're definitely the smallest one, the smallest wrestler in the family. So it's going to be a tough ride for you.
That's crazy that you are the smallest wrestler in the family, and yet you're one of the taller guys in this circuit. That's wild because what are you, 6'3" right? 6'3"?
Nope, I'm 5'8".
Why do I feel like you're 6 foot? Maybe the poster makes you look bigger. You're
Yes,
5'8".
I am 5'8".
And your family, were they 6 foot just about?
My uncle is 6'5", and my grandfather was 6'8".
So you definitely have the James Taylor syndrome.
Yep.
5'8". Okay, all right, fair enough. So size isn't the advantage. I would have thought 6'2", 6'1", but
Nope.
that's what posters do. Okay, all right. So let me ask you then a different question. You have another match coming up with Dalton Skull. What would that mean to you to win his championships or whatever he has holding? Should he be able to claim the FCW title as well? What would that mean to you to walk away with that?
If I were to walk out with the Uprising Championship,
And the FCW title, yep.
it would be bittersweet.
Why?
It's not something that I wanted to do. I wanted to kind of let the FCW title let it lie and just start off fresh with the new Mid-South title. But that's not what everybody else wanted to do. So they wanted to unify the titles. Granted, I got the last say in it, but we took a vote on it instead.
A majority said this is
majority
what they want.
rules, and they wanted to unify the titles first. So we didn't have an Uprising champion. I was just like, okay, I'll do the match. Whoever wins the Uprising title, that'll be my opponent at Uprising Final Act, which will premiere on August 26th.
On a Monday, I like that. Monday, right? Monday
Yep.
night. Forget about Monday Night Raw. I'm going to get a chance to see you and Dalton Skull on August 26th, huh?
Yep.
That's going to be a fun, interesting match. And I guess you can look at it on the bright side before I get to Vegas Storm is that you're still doing something that keeps that title alive. It's something that you're still giving it a memory. You're giving it still one more moment. You can look at it conversely and say it's one more moment. There's always a positive, right? This is still something that it's going to give people a chance to see it on a bigger stage and also help launch or relaunch a portion of the PWF that has such a history. I mean, we know the PWF that Mr. Titan had started had some really big names. You know the history. You were all part of it. And to see that come back, some might have said that the PWF should have died months ago. But the fact that you're doing a great job with what you're building, I think what Omen and Soldier have done a great job in building. It's exciting times, and I want people to support the PWF. I actually want them to support them on Instagram, and I also want them to support them right here in the links I've provided. And I do have one more comment from Mr. Storm before I get to some closing thoughts, which will be this. You're going to probably be taken aback or maybe not. No lies told, Tom. As a member of Future Atlanta Pro Wrestling, I say, let's do it. Battle of the Backyards? Did I just hear it straight? Did I just hear this? Tristan Taylor, Mr. Black Label himself, that Vegas Storm, the heart of a warrior? He seems like he's already not thinking with his head once again because he signed his own contract here over a week ago on Sportzwire Radio and didn't know one of the matches, but it seems like he's once again thinking with his heart over his head, but he wants a battle with the PWF Mid-South, and what do you think and what do you say about that?
Let me talk to Mr. Hardcore and Copper Dragon. Is that who owns Future Atlanta Pro Wrestling?
No, so Copper Dragon So Copper Dragon doesn't own Future Atlanta Pro Wrestling. One of the people behind it is Jermaine Hardwick, who's also very well known in the Atlanta wrestling circuit. Copper Dragon was was the man that started GWC Intensity, where Mr. Hardcore was one of the guys that helped build that company. Now, Vegas Storm is a protege of Copper Dragon.
Oh,
Copper,
okay.
Copper Dragon helped guys in there. Andre Anamali, I think he helped. That are guys that are currently in Future Atlanta Pro. Cliff Balcom. Cliff Balcom and Vegas Storm had fought toward the tail end of GWC Intensity. So some of the last remaining proteges of Copper Dragon are now in Future Atlanta Pro Wrestling. So some of the last proteges went on and had have had really big careers. I mean, Skrilla was just in MLW. Fred Yehai has wrestled like some super big names. We're talking guys like Rich Swann, TJP. He's had like a really big career in the Indies. Asiego Jones, Shalante Royal, you might know a little bit from
Hmm.
if you've seen some things there. So, like, those are his proteges, but some of his remaining proteges are the likes of Vegas Storm, Cliff Balcom, and they're now in Future Atlanta Pro Wrestling. So, they're
Okay.
obviously a company that I support because, as you may or may not be know, I sponsor Copper Dragon's reels that you see. All the stuff you see on
Yes.
TikTok, I sponsor him. So he's somebody that I obviously have a relationship with. He's been on the platform. I put him in the Hall of Fame, and I obviously value his talent. And Mr. Hardcore has been a supportive one. There's guys like Rodney Casket who are in GWC, are also part of Future Atlanta Pro, and there might be a name or two that you actually know in Future Atlanta Pro Wrestling, but I'm not going to say the name on the air. Let's just say that Mr. Hardcore might know who that is. Let's just leave it at that. Sound
Yeah.
good?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't
we'll
want
do
to.
that.
I don't want to pull a Craven Rage. I think really seriously tonight, my whole job is to make sure you don't pull a Craven Rage. With all due respect, I
Oh,
want to make sure
you're
you don't.
fine.
No, I got that. I'm just telling you for the audience to kind of, in tongue in cheek. So I think
Oh, yeah.
we're good with that. So anything else you want to say before closing thoughts? Anything else that's on your mind you want to address tonight?
I do want to once again congratulate Dalton on
Yes,
becoming the last Uprising champion.
absolutely.
He is the only man to ever hold both the Battleground and Uprising championships in the original PWF.
Yes.
I do, even though I was yanking Justin Parsley's chain.
Yank it more often because he seems to thrive on that. Justin Parsley now all of a sudden, I first met him a year ago, and even like 3 months ago, he's completely changed. So he likes that stuff now. He seems to thrive on people yanking his chain.
Yeah, I do want to congratulate him. I do hope that someday the way can all both PWS can collab and we can all get together and do a big Pride Wrestling Federation show.
Well, I have a vote on that. I know I don't have the majority vote, but I have a vote. My vote would say
Yes.
thumbs up. My vote. I don't know if my vote counts for something. I
Oh,
don't
yes.
really go. Oh, thank you. I'm glad somebody thinks I count, but I'm only kidding. But no, I really do. My style is I am very open minded. And I just want to say something if you don't mind. And I'm so excited that you are running the PWF Mid-South. If I could just say something for a second, if you don't mind. I'm so excited that you're doing it. I'm so excited Dimitri's alongside you. I'm so excited what Omen and Soldier have done with the PWF. I'm so excited about a lot of the stuff I've seen with Mr. Hardcore. And the reason, if I could, to say that I'm excited about it, because, what happened Tuesday night with Craven Rage and what happened, which we saw on WCE's recent show, I really don't like when owners or other people say one thing and then go into business for themselves. Or even Justin Parsley's owner in his company. He seems like more and more every day I hear things from different people on and off the air, which really tells me that when I hear things like this or see things like this, when I hear things like what Craven Rage did before my own very eyes, or even what I saw today in Justin Parsley's promotion, when it was pretty apparent to me that Justin Parsley should have won that Kurt Acid Battle Royal Memorial, these things are what I hear from the owner and operator of the company that Justin Parsley works for. And I hear the stories on and off the air. And I see guys in other feds like Jack Delta, who carry so much respect in this circuit, a man that has traveled more than anybody else, and
Mhm.
a man that has done so much for our community, almost get back talked by another owner from another promotion who Jack Delta traveled hundreds of miles for to go out there and put his blood, sweat, and tears out there to build his company. Or if you don't mind me saying this, Aaron Blaze, who's the UWA Heritage Champion, obviously a man you would love to have in the PWF Mid-South, and a man anybody would be so lucky to have. And it seems like he had similar experiences with that. And it just really, it bothers me because I try to run things to be extremely open-minded. I try to give people unconditional support, unconditional ability, even if some people say it's a detriment to me, because I hear time and time again, guys like Craven Rage, guys like Josh Fletcher in XCW, guys in other places seem to do the wrong things, and they do it over and over and over. And I'm so glad to see guys like you, guys like Mr. Hardcore, who are doing it the right way, and guys like over in NEW, Jake Dvorak and Justin Abel Sane, off my movement, creating a hardcore championship. That's what I like to see. Or I
Mhm.
like to see this Saturday, Resurrection and TBW working together. These are things ROEW working together with DKW. DKW now officially a part of ROEW's roster. The IMF and all the things that they have done. These are things that I want to see, because when I hear and see these things on my platform, I feel like that I need to go up and say something, because I feel like guys come here because they want to be treated right. They want to be treated with class, and I'm sick and tired of guys who own things that don't do the right thing or don't treat people with class, when I know from me that everybody that comes here gets treated with class and dignity and honor and integrity. And I will, if I have to, I will do anything I can to help anybody out there. And it feeds into what was said a few weeks ago when somebody said 80% of backyard and underground wrestling, it was toxic, and it's not. What's
No.
toxic? Individuals who make bad decisions, and individuals who run and operate things in a way that's to the detriment of not just their own selves, but to the community as a whole. So if I have to continue to do it each and every night, if I have to go on here each and every night to give people an opportunity, you better believe I'm going to do it. And I will even say this: if somebody one day needs me to interject and help a company, I really don't want to do those things. I still do not want to get involved in wins and losses. I don't want to get involved in those things. I really don't. But I just want people to know I'm happy that Tristan's involved, Dimitri's involved, Mr. Hardcore, what Justin Abel's saying and Jake Dvorak have done with the All Wrestling Matters Hardcore Tournament, the Riot in the Ring, what I'm seeing with TBW and Resurrection, what I've seen with the IMF, ROEW, James Taylor, JX, Jack Delta, Aaron Blaze, what UWA has done, a lot of UWA talent. I want to give Jake a round of applause. Jake has been very supportive. He's been open-minded. He's used his time to help and be supportive here. This is what I want. I don't want to see and continue to hear about what has been seen on this platform, what I've heard from people over the last few days. So that's my rant. I'll get to a few more comments. I'm thinking clear as day, man. The match that I was supposed to hear was the match I was asking for. Heart of a Warrior never backs down to no one. No match or no other backyards. Let's do it. We'll have to find out. And this guy, I don't know if you know anything about him, but apparently he's a part of Future Atlanta Pro Wrestling. And his name is Michael Blackheart. Michael Blackheart, who has joined us. And if you haven't yet, by the way, hit the sub button for me. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subs. So tell your friends, tell their friends. You take over the platform. Tristan Taylor might take it over. Indeed, let's do this Battle of the Backyards. And on my list, Tristan Taylor. See you down the road, pal. Move on from this, right? We know nothing about this, and just let's see what happens, right? see what happens. All right, we'll see what happens. We'll watch Michael Black on August 24th, but we'll certainly see. Never say never, I suppose, huh?
Yeah,
right?
Never say never.
Good enough. That was certainly the answer we were looking for. I think I got the point, and maybe we'll see some of these guys here in future Atlanta Pro Wrestling real soon. As a matter of fact, before I let you go and get to closing thoughts, we are going to see the guys from future Atlanta Pro Wrestling here. You know why? Because next Sunday, their worldwide universal champion, Andre Anomaly, who called out Sportswire Radio, said he needs to be here. He's going to be here live 7 o'clock Eastern time next Sunday. Maybe if you're not doing anything, you might want to tune in to hear what the champion has to say. You might want to be there for that because maybe you can maybe go and ask him some of the same things that these guys in future Atlanta Pro Wrestling did to you tonight. Just saying.
I'll be here.
All right. I look forward to that. I want to give you the floor. I want to give you some closing thoughts. I know you've been a busy man. I want to pass the baton to you, my friend. I want to put up some PWF links shortly here one more time. And thank you so much as always. I can't wait to watch you and Sammy Slade. Can't wait to watch you and Dalton and anything else we can do. And I pass the baton to you and fire away, my friend.
All right. I want to thank everybody for showing up tonight. I want to once again apologize for me being late.
No need to apologize. We had a great show. There is no need to apologize. I think this platform is all Wrestling Matters, and I think we've done just fine tonight. There were plenty of people here, plenty of comments, so I don't think that you need to do any apologizing, my friend. Don't you worry about that.
Also, we need to get Tom to 1,000 views so that we can take over, so we can roast him, and he also needs his tattoo.
Yes, because you have a few, and you'll have to give me advice when I get closer. So
Yes. UWA needs at least 4 more subscribers so that we can get to 600.
I'm looking at you guys in the FAPW Underground Wrestling Alliance on YouTube. I'm looking at you. I'm going to put that link up here one more time. Get those guys to 600. I want 600 subs by tonight. So if you're in future Atlanta Pro Wrestling, if you want to work with these guys, you want to be all Wrestling Matters, I want sub buttons right now. Subscribe to.
I mean, if you guys want to like and subscribe, awesome. Please go like and subscribe the PWF channel.
Yes.
That would be awesome as well.
We're closing in on 600 as well. Yes, we're closing in.
That helps me. That helps Tom. That helps Omen. That helps Soldier. Helps us all.
Helps the community. Helps the together we all win. Together we all win.
Merch?
Yeah. Oh, listen. ADT was here Monday and basically said, look, if you buy merchandise, it helps the company. So, yes, buy some merchandise.
Yes, it does. It also helps my guys.
Yes, it's ADT had the same conversation you had here. So, yes, buy merchandise. And I will be buying merchandise soon as well because all I own is wrestling shirts at this point. So, I might as well add more to the collection.
Yes. Oh, and speaking of which, I've got something in the works specifically for Mr. Tom Bryce. So...
Oh, God. well, when I get to 1,000 subs, I am expecting the world to basically, put something in my mouth. I don't know, but thank you for that, but I appreciate that. Is there anything else, my friend, that you'd like to say before we say sayonara?
Watch Last Rites.
Oh, I can't wait. I mean, we got Aaron and Mikey Reedy. We got Chase and Jake. We got you and Sammy. I mean, I'm sure Brett's going to be on the ET's been just doing a hell of a job promoting. I mean, I'm just fired up right now. Everything UWA, the video, the black and white thing that was on the screen. We talked about that on the show recently. I mean, just so many things. UWA is just on fire right now.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait. And I want people to follow, and UWA's got merchandise as well. I want to thank everybody here. One more time, hit the subs for them. Also, PWF, hit all the links, Facebook, pride.wrestling.federation.midsouth. Definitely please follow the PWF. Please support them. I can't wait. Also, August 26th, very excited about that. I definitely want to get you on after that. Maybe put you in the Hall of Fame after that because I'm expecting some big matches, some big wins coming up. So I want to get you into the Hall of Fame for everything you've done for us. I think I'll have a good speech for you. I'll definitely remember to say you're 6'5" instead of 5'8". I'm sure you'll love that part of the line. Yeah, well, that's I'm sure I'll do those things. Making me feel tall. I'm only 6 foot. People go, "Oh wow, you're actually 6 foot." I guess I am, but different conversation for a different time. I will definitely look forward to having you here in the Hall of Fame, having more PWF coverage. I really am excited about that. Also, future Atlanta Pro Wrestling coverage next Sunday. Andre and Amelie, and tomorrow Ace Reed, 10:15, all the way from Australia, the land of Down Under, and I'll be back. I'll have a break and then back here at midnight with a major surprise, major surprise. You won't want to miss it. My friend, congratulations on the upcoming return to the ring. Can't wait for Last Rites. I'm looking forward to seeing you and Sammy slam it out there and kill it. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with Unleashed, and definitely continue to be the Black Label, continue to leash some dirty South on us, and thank you for all that you do for us. And by the way, Mr. Hardcore, subscribe to the PWF and give me the UWA sub because it gets them to 600. So all my people here right now, if you're here right now, hit the sub button for UWA, and Jake can thank me later. Jake can, actually no, Jake, just come back to Sportswire. Just come back and support the platform. So don't take it any other way personally. But thank you, Mr. Hardcore, for that, and thank you, my friend. This was fun. I had a lot of fun. I'm glad people tuned out, but Sportswire is it's a whole different environment. And you could have been 3 hours late. I had no doubt the Church of All Wrestling Matters, somebody would have attended Mass and we would have had, I'm sure, a lively conversation regardless. But thank you very much as always. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was fun. That was a lot of fun. It definitely made me feel a lot better after the last couple of days on Sportswire Radio. And just go back and watch the shows and find out why. But that was my friend Tristan Taylor. He is doing a phenomenal job as the owner of the PWF Mid-South, the other PWF in beautiful Tennessee. Maybe they'll work together with future Atlanta Pro Wrestling. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice figuratively and literally where all wrestling matters. And I hope that if you're here out there on Sportswire Radio 6579, you hit a sub button for us. Also, Mr. Hardcore gave a sub to UWA. There you go. Thank you, Jake. You appreciate me later. But certainly, we had a lot of fun. We're talking about upcoming stuff. August 26th, Dalton Skull and Tristan Taylor for the unified titles in the PWF and the FCW. Final championships there to be awarded. Also, Last Rites is coming up. Tristan will be squaring off with Sammy Slade, Aaron Blaze, and Mikey Reedy's on that show. Jay Cal and Chase Sullivan. Dirty South is in action. Really excited about that. Also, future Pro Atlanta Wrestling. Atlanta Pro Wrestling has a lot of stuff on the works. We look forward to that. Also, Skulls, how you doing? Rip Leo Burks. Yes, very sorry about Leo Burks. Definitely thoughts and prayers on that. And Skulls, if you're here, hit the sub button for the Underground Wrestling Alliance. They're trying to get to 600 subs. They're like 2 or 3 away. So if you give them a sub, it'll help them. My friend Jay Cal in beautiful Tennessee there. So hit them a sub button. Let's get them to 600. Also, hit the sub button for the PWF. For Jay Cal's company, they're closing in on 600 subs. It's portion of it is mine, but it's really more for Jake and to support with alongside Tristan and everybody else. So hit the sub buttons for them. I'll be here 10:15 tomorrow. Until then, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. On the number one global radio station that is Sportswire Radio, where all wrestling matters. Remember, get me to 1,000 subs. Support everybody, because remember, together we win. Together we win. We are here figuratively and literally in prime time, the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the only platform where all wrestling matters, Sportswire Radio. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, on the number one global radio station that is Sportswire Radio. And I'll see everybody with Ace Reed and then a surprise afterwards. Thanks, everybody. Go follow PWF Mid-South